What's up, weirdo? Shadetree Surgeon here, and it might not look like it, but we're at a graveyard. We're visiting the, hopefully, not final, well, maybe final, resting place of Brapstar Garage. You know what the saddest part about this is? This storage unit that contains almost all of Brapstar Garage, that which is not in currently my home garage, is way more organized than Brapstar Garage ever was. I'm just looking at how well organized this is here and going like, man, why didn't I ever do this when I had all the space in the world? Moral of that story is, don't give me a lot of space. I obviously can't handle that much. Also, rather unfortunately, what I need is all the way back there. Yes, that shiny lump of aluminum back there. So I gotta move a bunch of stuff to get to it, but it's for a good reason. Oh, oh my God. This thing's a chungus. A lot lighter when they're empty. Running out of space in here. 3 spokes for life. Well, maybe not for life. Definitely for the 90s. Oh, well, I said well organized. I'm incredibly sweaty now from digging around in my storage unit because my well organized is still just, it just means it's in boxes. It's not actually organized. It's just on the shelf. And for some reason, in with the stereo equipment, the last thing I was looking for underneath the speakers was this Mikuni HSR 48. And this one was given to me by a very awesome Patreon subscriber. Said, I don't know what I'm ever going to do to this. If you can ever use it, you use it. And just so happens, this HSR 48 should give you a good idea as to which size that big old lump of aluminum back there actually is. Big. Well, I got a truck full of Harley parts, and you might be asking yourself, well, Josh, do you even own a Harley? Well, I'm fogging up here. Yes, I own 2 Harleys, actually. I have a Sportster, and I have the Vomit Comet, baby. Currently, missing something rather important, but that's where that big chunk of aluminum comes in handy. In the ride factory, and Mel comes up, and I go, man, I got a truck full of motorcycle parts. And she gets up to start moving stuff. I'm like, I was about to say, you guys got a couple of new guys. I don't even want to lift this stuff. Come on. As per usual, my FXR is a pain in the ass, not just for me, but also for all my friends.
You know that bird. I wonder what's going to happen next.
Whoa, come on now. Come on, you can do this. Teamwork, look.
I'm not fast.
All right, I'm leaving the Vomit Comet and this ridiculous pile of parts, including my 3 spokes, super trap exhaust, coming soon, a 6-speed, some ridiculous forward controls, and Ultima open primary. I'm leaving it in the very capable hands of people who are much more capable than I. Talking about a motorcycle that's gonna make like 130, 140 horsepower. Somebody else should be putting that together, not me. It's hard to imagine all the fun I've had on this bike, all the amazing times, some of them bad times, but all of the overall mostly amazing times I've had on this motorcycle when I sit here and look at it as it sits right now. There's just so many memories on this thing. My man Psycho Monster right there, who's got a board game for sale right now, by the way. Psycho Monster, he is the guy who originally christened the bike Barf Party. He's the reason why it's called Barf Party, and he used to sell that sticker and he stopped. The original reason why that we came up with my other ride is an existential crisis, which I originally wrote on there because I ran a contest. My other ride is an existential crisis came up from Raj, actually. He's the one who won that contest when I was asking for something to write on the white wall. We've got my friend Tori and Kiefer. She painted my top box. Oh, freaking, I asked her for wizards and dragons and stuff, and she painted this Vetter top box, which I remember when I picked this up from a buddy's yard, and I just had to have it on there. All this stuff from Elite Touring Concepts is what made it able to work. I became friends with those guys. These bags, dude, these bags and this fairing, they were off not a factory painted, but you know, in the 80s, they were selling FXR Ds, which was the big touring one to compete with the Goldwing. And the FXR D, they had trouble selling them. So some dealerships, to help them sell better, just started painting them. And so this one got a custom flame paint job that was painted in Milwaukee, original in 1986 paint. And it came up for sale because it was kind of busted up and nobody wanted to buy it, but it was in Milwaukee. So my man, Two Wheel Jockey from Discord and Patreon, I asked him to go get it for me. He packed it up and shipped it down here. Of course, we've got the front fender here. Who can forget that? That was before Shay Lisi even had a YouTube channel. I asked Shay Lisi to paint my front fender, and I said, put whatever you want on it. You put whatever you want to see on it, and that's what she did. I got my one Performance Machine brake, one Tokiko brake over here. Maybe I'll keep that when it's all put back together. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I kind of like the way it looks. The Electron carb, of course, is just like my KC, my daylighter. There's just so many memories on one single motorcycle. I have so many memories from so many videos I made, and it's not just me going like, oh, I made these videos, it should be special, like, because my videos are important. That's not even how I feel. My videos they're like home movies for me. It's not me sitting here and I don't run my YouTube channel like a business. I don't. I'd probably be a lot more successful if I did, but I don't. I'm making home movies here, and there are so many memories wrapped up in that one single motorcycle, probably more than any other motorcycle I own. I'm very excited to see that thing back on the road. Bigger, better, and badder than ever. But for right now, the end of the story of the transformation, the metamorphosis, the Kafka-esque rebirth of Barf Party into something different, into the Vomit Comet, reborn from on high, soaring down from the heavens. For now, that story ends a different day. Well, it's the next day and the back seat is officially free of Barf Party parts. Here in the truck, currently about to hit Fort Myers because I'm going to look at something I definitely shouldn't be looking at right now. I already got a lot of irons in the fire, but y'all just gonna have to trust me on this one, all right? And isn't this a face you can trust with these sunglasses? These sunglasses work so well, but I hate them. They make me look like the kind of guy who says something like, being a security guard isn't a job, it's a way of life. No offense to all my guys out there who are security guards. I look like an asshole in these glasses. All right, onwards. Crouch down here in order to keep the wind off the microphone. Back at the storage unit at the former home of Brapstar. Oh wait, current home of Brapstar, unfortunately, with something I should have never picked up, but let me tell you what, man. There's actually more than a few bikes on my bucket list. We'll go ahead and call it a barrel list of bikes I'd love to own. Whenever one comes up and it's, you know, in the 3 figures price range, 3 figures is something I can afford to get and something I can afford to let sit and wait, because once again, they ain't making no more of these and the prices aren't going down. So this is what I can afford right now, but I am gonna have to wait probably, I would say, at least a good year before we're back into a position where we're in a bigger garage again. Hopefully that is coming, more on that later. But I'm not gonna feel bad about getting it now. Everyone always tries to make me feel bad about picking stuff up, like, you're never gonna work on that. That's not true. What is gonna happen though if I don't get it now is I'm never gonna find it again. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the very first, not quite, but pretty much very first water-cooled motorcycle, Suzuki GT750 two-stroke, the Water Buffalo. This model has seen better days, but that's the cool thing about two-stroke motors. They don't ever die. Now, let's see if me and Shay Lisi can get this very heavy, very low to the ground bike out of this very tall truck. I've brought some wood implements here to try and prop that up, which seems like a terrible idea. So I'll have you just hold the bike and I'll spot you. Okay, we're trying to make this as quick as possible because we hear the telltale signs of a hobo knife fight starting, which is not weird for storage units anyway. So we've got this, which may or may not work. Don't try this at home. Actually, don't try storage unit parking lots at all. They're dicey places. Very dicey. 1974 Suzuki GT750 does not have the proper front end on it because the proper front end on these would have a dual disc brakes and wouldn't have that rim. Apparently the previous owner smashed up the front end. That's probably why it's missing the trim piece on the radiator as well. But my eventual plans for this bike would have been to replace the front end anyway. I'm not going to do a restoration. I'm going to do a custom bike out of this. Now, if this was a completely stock motorcycle, like if this was in really good shape, which I could not afford one of these in good shape, and concourse off the showroom floor condition, I think they go to like $15,000 to $17,000. One in really good shape, like a driver, one that you could ride every day, ready to rock and roll, you know, with like some road wear, that would probably go to $6,000 or $7,000. This one was 600 bucks. Also, since it's in this shape, I don't feel bad making a custom motorcycle out of it. If it was perfect, then I'd feel pretty bad. Now, I'm not gonna cut the frame at all or chop it up, but we are doing something a little wild. I've been wanting to make a Suzuki bike forever. I've been looking around for probably the past 3 years for a donor for a Suzuki bike, and I could have bought any number of Honda Nighthawk 750s or other bikes like that would have made really good donors. A lot of people in Japan already use those bikes, usually smaller ones like Nighthawk 400s, which they've never sold over here. But I knew I wanted something really unique if I was going to do a Suzuki build. And baby, 3-cylinder 750cc 2-stroke, that fits the bill as far as unique. Once again, my patience has been rewarded. Something I don't really talk about a whole lot on the channel. If I have one quality that I'm proud of, and that sometimes infuriates other people, I have the patience of a stone. I am the most patient person I know. And I'll tell you what, I know a lot of people. Ye of little faith. Shaylisi doesn't believe in the Max. The VMAX, also another future project. Like I said, I've got quite a few, not bucket lists. David says it the best, barrel lists, because there's a lot on that list. And I've got a few of them so far. The Rocket 3 is definitely on that list, which we're pulling that back out here pretty soon for regular use. The VMAX is on that list as well, man. Just ever since these came out, it's just a motorcycle that I used to have posters of on my wall. And so when one came up for almost nothing, you know what? They ain't making any more of them, especially not these 80s ones. They might never make another VMAX with the way the internal combustion engine is going. One came up and yeah, it needs a bunch of work, but the VMAX that I have in my dreams is like full of polished aluminum, so that engine would have to come out of the frame anyway, and just like chromed out. I always liked it when people really made these things shine. Gave them a custom paint job and rims and everything. Just a custom VMAX. From the future. It does look like it's from the future still. It just looks like it's from the future in 1986. One day. But again, like I said, I am made of patience.
If Cloud from Final Fantasy was gonna ride a motorcycle.
That is his bike.
No, it is.
Yeah, this is the Final Fantasy bike. No, this is the bike that Cloud rode in Final Fantasy, was a VMAX. This has just been a really special bike in my life for many years, so I had to get one when it came up and it was available to me. And one day, I will make it absolutely badass. It takes time. People used to say that about the Rocket 3. So when I first messed up the Rocket 3 and the engine came out of the frame, getting it like this took 3 years. Took 3 years of work to make it like this. Because guess what? This isn't a TV show where we restore motorcycles. Yeah, we're on YouTube, but it's not the TV show with like unlimited funds.
This is Rapstar Pimp My Ride, man.
Exactly. Things take time, but I don't mind because I'm patient and I'd rather have the bike available to me whenever in the next year.
Fantasy, so I put Cloud's sword on your motorcycle.
Oh, now we have to. I have the patience to sit here and wait, and I'd rather have the donor bike for my project. I'd rather own it than wait till I'm ready to do it and then not be able to find one, or have whatever ones are available and be insanely expensive.
Pickles in every cup holder.
Oh, that's absolutely. Yeah, every custom motorcycle from Rapstar Garage gets a cup holder. Well, we traded 1 2-stroke for 4 strokes, just in 2 bikes.
6 strokes.
Anything more than 6 strokes and you're playing with it, all right? It's been a while since me and Shaylisi have been out on the bikes for a multitude of different reasons. My injuries, her traumatic brain injuries, which, but is like pretty much recovered from now. She still gets vertigo sometimes.
I have head trauma.
That and the fact that we're in the storage unit, so we weren't pulling them out and using them.
I've got emotional trauma.
All sorts of trauma. Well, you know what I have? Can't keep blaming my weight gain on COVID. I keep going like, oh yeah, it's the COVID 20. Well, at this point, it's more like the COVID 50. Not the COVID 50 anymore. It's just Shadetree Surgeon is overweight. It's time to get back out on the dirt, baby, because this ain't a good look for me. And you know, when I unload a bike and I gotta take a second because I'm breathing too heavy to yammer my motor mouth about the motorcycle, I am in dire straits, okay? Something's gotta change. It's time to go out in the dirt again and hopefully not immediately hurt myself. Gotta take it easy. But for right now, they're going in the garage because we got one more thing to do that we probably shouldn't be doing. Shaylisi to the rescue. Wait, which way was he going? Was he going over there or over there? You might put him back over there. He's like, screw you, I was trying to go over there. Well, this YZ465 in the back of the F-150 is currently the 4th 2-stroke that has been in this vehicle today for a total of 8 strokes. Much too many strokes. More on why this 1979 YZ is back here later, time to spend some time on a motorcycle that actually runs. And time to spend some time on a motorcycle that actually runs because I forgot my camera at my friend's house. And I didn't even use it there. I have no idea how it even made it out of the side of the vehicle. The hairs are the worst. Come here, it's still there. It's gonna drive you nuts. Do you have a hair hanging down?
It's like one single piece of hair. Ow! You ripped it out? I thought you were going to move it.
Blockhead's bike is covered in ants. There's some big ass ant piles right there. That's why. Oh, we live in Florida. Ants are just a reality that you have to deal with. We're batting 1,000 right now on the two Sportsters of very different vintages. One pre-03 rigid mount 883, and of course Shay Lacey on the Blockhead Special, the 1250 Sportster S. And hers is currently out of gas, so as far as motorcycles that actually are running right now, we're not doing super great. On motorcycles that don't run and need rebuilding, we're doing amazing. I know Blockhead uses race gas, but you know, race gas just doesn't have the panache of this this fine vintage juice from the stab and grab. $93? Wow, you're really spoiling Blockhead.
I thought you put this in all motorcycles.
I put 87 in mine.
Taught me to put 93 in motorcycles.
I know, that's before it got expensive. Screw that. Sure, is that thing full? It only takes 2 gallons? That's crazy. You know, yeah, it's a real Sportster tank, 2 gallons. All right, let's roll. Things are getting hectic at the stab and grab.
Time to drive very fast.
Yes, let us away. All right, we're going. Yeah, I'd say with the 883 Dirtster and the Sportster 1250S, you got 2 motorcycles that are both Sportsters, that are both modern Sportsters, that are about as far away from each other as you can get. You've got a 130 horsepower monster back there, all liquid cooled modernity. And then you have this 883, which is probably cranking out somewhere around 35 screaming ponies. At least it's very understressed. I mean, maybe not when my fat ass gets on it. Yeah, I'm sure that I'm wide open throttle right now, and Shay Lacey's probably at about quarter throttle. Well, I mean, here's a completed project. The Dirtster. Dirtster I completed from start to finish, and is any project really ever done? When it comes to custom motorcycles, I really don't think so. A motorcycle project is, how long does it take to do? Well, how long is a piece of string? Custom motorcycles and motorcycle restoration projects, they have no beginning and they have no end. They exist in this nebulous liminal space where time eternal stretches on. Much like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill, you think you might reach the top, but you are crushed by it once again and have to start from the very beginning until you realize it's the trying that's fun, not the end goal. And then my GoPro died. Not interrupting because I continued to talk about the rest of the things I wanted to convey to you guys out there. I just, as usual, just shouted it into the void to no one. Why does the jalapeno scream? For he must. To finish that up, I was just talking about how a lot of people at the camp out came up to me and they asked me about multiple projects, and I see it in the comments too, but when multiple people in real life are asking you about it, I started to realize something, that I have not properly conveyed why some of these projects aren't done, because I haven't properly conveyed one of the most intrinsic things about me, Josh, as a person. You know, I joke around Shadetree and the royal we and all that, but as me, Josh, as a person, why do I use the plural there? To talk about my therapist with that one. Anyway, probably my only redeeming quality is that I am just made of patience. I have the patience of a stone. I am the most patient person I know, and I know a lot of people. Now that might sound like I'm bragging, but I promise you, it's literally the only thing that I have that has done anything for me. My patience has rewarded me over and over and over again. I don't mind waiting years for the correct moment. And every once in a while, that's bit me on the ass too, where by waiting too long for something, I've missed opportunities. But for the most part, my patience has been the most rewarding, like personally, financially, just everything, the most rewarding thing that I have in my personality. And trust me, it's got a lot of battles to fight with all the bad things about my personality. It's not something I felt the need to ever really talk about because I just assumed people would say like, oh, these projects take time. Of course they take time. You know, I'm not going to do it before I'm ready. You know, I didn't properly convey that. And when a bunch of people started asking me about all the projects at the camp out, I figured I better talk about it. I have projects like the Rocket 3, which that Rocket 3 project took almost 3 years to complete because that's how long it takes. Projects takes time, and that one was really hindered by the fact that one of my very close friends actually passed away in a motorcycle accident who was doing most of the work to the Rocket 3, leaving it completely disassembled, and all of us completely in grief over his passing. Yeah, I still think about Scotty, and I wish he was here with us today. He was an amazing human being. These things take time. Projects take time, and this isn't a TV show, and it's okay that it's not a TV show. I don't want it to be a TV show. Like, there's no unlimited budget. There's no 6 mechanics behind the scenes making this happen. It's just me and Shay Lisi and a couple of our friends when we need someone smarter than us. So things take time, like the FXR. Yep, it's been over 2 years since I blew the FXR. Doing anything like rebuilding a motorcycle, it takes time. Yes, the FXR got blown up almost 2 years ago, or over 2 years. I don't really know. It's hard for me to keep track of time, especially after COVID. But here's the thing. I wanted to do it right. I wanted all the pieces. Could I have just slapped the 80-inch Evo back together and put it back on the road? Surely, I could have done that. I could have found a donor Evo and not changed the transmission or the primer, updated anything, and just slapped a motor in there and put it back on the road. Well, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make something different. So I waited, and I waited because I am very patient. You know, when you don't have unlimited funds, you have to be patient because you have to wait for the right deal. And eventually the right deal came up on a 113 cubic inch SNS. So bought that for a song. And as I was collecting the other parts for this motorcycle that I needed, I was still looking for engines because I'm always looking. And then an even better deal came up where I could unload the SNS, and for almost $0 over that, I could get a 124 cubic inch total performance, fully polished engine. Once again, my patience has rewarded me with a very awesome engine, but you have to be patient. It takes time. Yes, I could have done this for very cheap right out of the gate and just slapped it back together and it would have been riding again, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted a big polished engine. I wanted new wheels. I wanted the FXR to be something that just absolutely ripped ass. If I had 15 grand to just dump on the bike, I could have done that right away. I could have been like, SNS, send me a 124, you know, Baker, send me a 6-speed, you know, I could just like ordered all that stuff right out of the gate, but I don't have that. I have to wait. And when you have to wait and search for the right deal, it takes time. Anybody out there who's ever built a motorcycle piecemeal, you've got to be patient if you don't have the budget to just buy everything brand new right out of the gate. I definitely don't. The Triumph Chopper is another project that I got asked about a lot. You know, I'm waiting on that one because I'm waiting for Weems to do it with me, because Jared Weems is not only my friend who I would like to spend time with building a motorcycle, but I would venture to say probably knows more about vintage Triumphs than any other human being alive. I want to build that bike with him. The bike ain't going anywhere. I'm gonna wait till I can do it right. Like, sure, I could start to slap it together now. I could probably get it running. I could probably get it on the road, but it wouldn't be done how I want it to be done. And I want to do it with Jared. Right now, Jared's got a bunch of projects, but we talk about this, and when he has time in between projects, and when I'm ready, not here, but when we're at the new Brapstar garage, which again is going to take time to find, then we're gonna get together and do it. But I don't feel any overwhelming urge to do it right this second. You know, if I just indulged in all my urges to do it right this second, do it now, today, tomorrow, no, tomorrow's too late, then I would have a lot of things that I wasn't really happy with. I would have a lot of bikes that weren't done the way that I want them to be done. I would have a lot of experiences that weren't as good as they could have been. So I wait because my patience has rewarded me, and just over the moon it has rewarded me. A lot of these experiences with building bikes are just so much better because I waited for things to be right. Now, that's not saying wait forever, but know what you want. And if you know what you want and you're willing to wait for it, you're gonna do a lot better. And it's okay, I don't expect everyone to know this. You watch 2 videos a week, you follow Instagram, you see these 2 30-minute videos a week and a couple shorts. It doesn't always let you know exactly these thoughts. And you guys watch these videos, I think you guys deserve to know. I'm not blaming anybody for not understanding what I'm like and why I wait to do these things. I'm not mad at anybody. Why would I be? Why would you know? 30 minutes twice a week? And some people don't even watch the videos, so they don't know that I've talked about this in previous videos, so I have to say it again. But that's okay, because I'm here to make videos and have a good time and interact with everybody on the other side of that YouTube screen. You can do the campouts and have it be awesome, so I don't mind saying it. I don't mind telling it. I should have actually talked about it more, if I'm being completely honest. I should also mention the 2 new bikes that you saw today in the videos, the YZ490 or YZ465, it's got 490 piston in it, and also the GT750. Both of those are motorcycles that I've been looking for a long time. Over 3 years. The YZ490 with the build I want to do that, I'll talk about that in a minute, for over 2 years. I look for a motorcycle literally every single day, and I've got multiple, bucket list items and builds in my head that I want to do that I'm willing to wait a long time for. I'm willing to wait and search every day for the right deal, because I'm not a millionaire. Sometimes I'm not even a thousandaire. So it's like, yeah, when the bikes are $600 or they're a couple $100, then it's time to strike. But you have to check every day, and you have to be very patient if you're going to find the right deal. And then also know when it's time to act, which I do. Well, I think I do. Look at me sucking my own dick over here. What I'm saying is, I promise I'm not one of those people that just loads up projects and just puts them in a garage and waits for another day. I have a plan for all this stuff. I'm just doing it right in the right amount of time. And that doesn't mean the builds are going to be perfect or show winners or anything like that. What I'm doing is maximizing the most important thing in all these motorcycles and all these builds, and that is fun. Because if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it. And this is the way I want to do these builds, and I want to have all these things together and for the time to be right, and then strike while the iron is hot. And that's the way I have the maximum amount of fun doing this. And if you make YouTube videos and you work on motorcycles and it isn't fun, you should find a different hobby. Or find a way to make it fun. Anyway, I guess I'll climb off my soapbox now and introduce you guys to the new Yamaha on the Sable. And that brings us to the cheapest purchase, as in free 99, I have right now, which is this YZ465, or as the previous owner said, a YZ490. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. Here are the plans for this motorcycle right here. For those of you who are unfamiliar with 2-strokes, this is a early big bore Japanese 2-stroke that they made to compete with Husqvarna and KTM in the late 70s or early 80s, who were making big bore 2-strokes for like open class MX. It's a 1979, and it's a very early example of Yamaha monoshock. I think the Yamaha monoshock, which was the first monoshock on an off-road motorcycle, I believe that came out in like 71 on their 250 2-stroke, but I could be wrong. Anyway, this is the first example of a monoshock motorcycle, which I think is really cool. Just like the Water Buffalo being the first liquid-cooled motorcycle, having early stuff like this I think is really neat. It's actually really neat to see how huge this shock is. Like, people who are used to little twin shocks in the back, seeing this gigantic, looks like off a truck, dual rate spring on their dirt bike, were probably like, what is that? That is insane. And it even has a remote reservoir up here, although I assume since the 70s, shock oil has increased its quality to a point where you probably don't need the reservoir, but it definitely looks cool. Here's the plans for this bike. This is another build that I've always wanted to do. Like I keep telling you guys, I've been looking for years for the correct donor bike, and I knew I wanted it to be a big bore 2-stroke. I knew I wanted it to be air-cooled, so that took the big Honda off the list. I considered a couple old Husqvarnas and KTMs, which had a similar setup with this big thinned engine and the high pipe like that, but Yamaha is much easier to find parts for, so Yamaha it is. I've been inspired by those Honda 650L tracker builds, which I've always thought were so good looking, where they'll put a regular motorcycle gas tank on it, make a frame loop back here, and put a kind of a brat style seat on it, which is what I'm planning on doing with this. And then the front end, the drum brakes are definitely neat, but I'm probably just going to go ahead and put like a modern YZ250 upside down fork front end on this thing. As far as everything else, then it's going to be a bit of a dirt tracker. The idea is, you guys know I like my stuff shiny, and Yes, the frame is steel, but pretty much everything else on the bike is aluminum. We have an aluminum rear swing arm here, and we have an aluminum engine. And you guys know that aluminum can get shiny. I love shiny things. I've never seen anybody else do this, at least not to a YZ490 or 465. I know I can't do it myself because it's too hard, but I'm gonna send that engine out and have it completely brought to a show polish. So it's gonna be a completely polished engine, and I think it's along with a completely polished swing arm. And then the frame I'm either going to do in that powder coat chrome. If I can, I'm gonna get it nickel plated, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that or not. And that nickel plated frame will be just a little bit of a nod to those old Rickman Triumph frames, which I thought were so freaking cool. Anyway, that's the story behind that bike right there. All in due time. Projects get done all in due time. And there's many different things of why I don't always do them. Sometimes I don't have the right parts. Sometimes I don't have the right bike. Sometimes the timing just isn't right. And then sometimes
I just can't do.
Sometimes all your friends are over and they're like, let's go ride motorcycles and drink beer. And I'm like, I ain't turning wrenches today. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.